My name is Sean Thompson, Program Manager for SAP Ariba Snap, and I'm here to give you the customer pitch for SAP Ariba Snap. SAP Ariba Snap is a content-rich solution, source-to-pay solution that is easy to deploy, easy to administer, and an easy-to-adopt system, and gives our customers control over spending. When we talk to our customers, we're trying to help them solve really basic problems within their organization. Too many manual processes and paper, limited adoption and use of preferred suppliers, and insufficient financial reporting and controls. These core challenges really align very nicely to the personas that we're selling to within the organization, right? This is the procurement team, the AP team, and the controller and the finance team. Right? Typically, all three of these roles are reporting up to the CFO, and we need to win the support of each one of them for a successful Ariba Snap deal. But what's good is by bringing all of these processes into a single integrated solution like Ariba Snap, well, we're managing buy-in from beginning to end and helping all of them make their job easier. So when we talk about SAP Ariba Snap, we're talking about helping them buy, helping them control, and helping them invoice. So how we're going to do it? We talked a little bit earlier about speed and simplicity being key to the process. And how we do this is we provide them a consumer simple shopping app with SAP Ariba Snap, access to a marketplace on day one with content, not just catalog content, but forms, categories, suppliers, and this content is very much can be aligned to their industry. And this solution deploys in 12 weeks or less and is ERP agnostic. This is what the solution looks like. This is the landing page for all employees. It's very easy to use. There should be no training required for end users. If they know how to go onto the online and buy as a consumer, they should be able to come into SAP Ariba and find what they need. When we talk to many customers, when we created the solution, what we realize is they're buying the same types of things. So what we wanted to do is pre-configure categories with our best practices and make them available to the customer on day one. Some examples of these categories are office supplies, advertising and printing services, marketing services, financial services, legal and HR services, facilities and maintenance, MRO, travel, and IT goods and services. Within each one of these categories, the first line is really specific to goods and different catalogs and searches that you can do for different goods. The second line is typically for preferred suppliers that you would set up in the solution. And then the third is the concept of web forms. Here's an example of a consulting services request form in the IT goods and services category. Consulting services request. Within each one of these categories, we have a library of forms available for the customer to choose from. Right? And this is all available on day one. And with this consulting services request form, this can be something that's built by the business, does not require IT, it's drag and drop. And once a user comes and completes this form, it can be either sent to your preferred suppliers for a quote, or it can be sent to a person within your organization to process that request. Now back to the buying. When you go look for a good in the solution, this is what it looks like. Goods are easy to find, and you have lots of ability to make searches and find things based on certain criteria. You can dig into the details of the products, right, and including the suppliers. When you go to check out, it's a consumer simple approach. Just like when you go buy stuff, we just embed three critical pieces of information for the enterprise. One is the approval workflow. The second is the ERP information that's defaulted depending on your user profile, automatically defaulted. And the last is the procurement policy, if applicable. What we want to do with Ariba is get rid of any procurement policies books that quite frankly nobody reads and understands. And what you can do is embed those policies directly into the checkout for your users. So the only time your user needs to know if there's a policy is they'll be prompted, and they'll simply just need to make a comment. Last but not least, approvals can be in the solution. It can be on mobile, or it can be directly in your email. Simple and easy. We talked earlier about the catalog and a marketplace that's available. On day one, in some regions, you have access to be able to buy goods from any of these suppliers below. And these goods can really equate to 95% of any indirect good you could ever need to buy would be available in the catalog on day one. So what's really nice about our marketplace is it's content that you can control. So when you go into the admin page for the marketplace, you're actually able to toggle on and off different commodity codes. So if you want to toggle on computers for your end users, you would be able to control the content for them and what they can see. If you want to toggle off paper or printers, you could toggle them off. So you really control the content that's available in our marketplace, and you are even able to toggle on and off by supplier as well. For example, if you want your users to only see content from Office Depot, but not for Office Max, you would have the ability to turn the suppliers on and off. Now, SAP Ariba Snap also has the ability to host any other type of catalog, level 1, level 2, or punch-outs directly in the solution. A marketplace is just one option that the customer has, and highly recommended for fast time to value. So how do we make this real for you quickly? Speed is key, speed and simplicity. And how we do this is we provide pre-configured spend categories specific to your industry. Those were those blue categories we looked at earlier. Built-in best practice workflows based on our experience in the procurement space. We know what the best practice is, and we can guide you and help get you started quickly by leveraging that experience. And then it's moving your suppliers to digital transactions with you, email-based purchase orders and invoices. And that does not mean just attaching a PDF, but actually a touchless process between you and your suppliers. So we talked earlier about the procurement process. Now let's see what this would mean for your AP organization and your suppliers. When a purchase is made, your supplier would receive an email as a purchase order by email. They would click on the process order. They would have to, if they are not already logged into the Ariba network, they would have to log in the first time, and it's as easy as signing up for Facebook or Instagram. It takes 2 minutes. And once they do that, they would have access to a dashboard where they can see the whole history of transactions with their customer or any customer that they might do business with in Ariba. But let's say that supplier was already in the Ariba network when they received the purchase order. Well, when they clicked on the process order, they would actually go right to the purchase order from their email. And they would have the ability to create an invoice directly from their email. Now, depending on what your rules might be, you also have the flexibility, depending on the supplier or by the commodity, to have your suppliers create an order confirmation or potentially create a ship notice. These are rules that you can define, again, depending on what commodity or by what supplier. You can decide that they would be required to do that before they send the invoice. Okay? Now, this process is not rigid. Making change orders is very possible to do. You can add the shipping notice information directly in this process. But most importantly, when they go to create their invoice, that invoice, the information in that invoice must match the PO. This is a huge value add for your organization and super key example of the power of our network. So, for example, if the supplier went to complete the invoice and they created a duplicate number or tried to backdate the invoice, or they tried to not add tax or change the quantity, these are all examples of rules you can set up within the solution to be able to ensure that the invoice matches the PO proactively. And as a result of this, your invoice will automatically match the PO, and this becomes a touchless process. And why this is important is your AP organization typically spends a lot of work trying to do 2, 3, 4-way matching of all these different documents they receive. With the power of the network, this is done seamlessly. Now the benefit is that a traditional AP person may do 7,500 invoices per year, being able to process that many. Well, as a result, with the power of Ariba, that number of throughput should increase to about 50,000 invoices per year per AP full-time employee. Okay. Now, the last point is persona is really the finance organization. One thing that a lot of companies ask about is accruals. Typically, accruals is a tough thing to track for mid-market companies, and you have to aggregate data from different systems to be able to do it, and it's a manual process, and a lot of times takes many days. Well, within Ariba, we can do this for you directly in the solution. Now, further that, any of the reports, we can dig into the details, get to the detailed level of the report. You can edit and export that data from the solution, send it to key stakeholders on a reoccurring basis. You can manage exceptions to help improve the process in the future going forward. You can see where the approvals sit with which role, so you can help improve that part of the process. As a result of making this transparent and digital transaction with your suppliers, you're able to take advantage of payment terms that you've negotiated in contracts. You can track budgets directly in the solution, and we come with a prepackaged set of reports based on our customer community that we find very useful for our customers and available on day one. What else is really nice is that by persona, we can create a dashboard for them. So you can have all the information and data when you log into Ariba up, ready, and available for you at any time. And what's really neat is really any data in the system can be reported on. So as we wrap up here, when you think of SAP Ariba Snap, we're helping customers manage their spend and freeing up working capital, right? And we can do this by providing a consumer simple shopping site that's designed to scale as you grow, and digital supplier onboarding that's easy and free. When you go to your customers, if you need a quick business case behind the napkin type of back of the napkin type of report, I would recommend to check out this slide in the customer presentation. There's some 2 really quick win examples and great notes in the notes section on how to do it. And would really appreciate your time. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And thanks again.